gonna I'm gonna adjust again.
I knew it.
I'm trying not to do that. Go live on Facebook. So we've been having fun with Brer Rabbit stories and psychology of coronavirus. And Gus, you want to be in the picture? Gus, come. So Gus likes to say hi to Kyle. Gus, up. Come here. All right. Thank you. Upstage me. So allowing and settling in, and we've all got to stay home, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with staying home and knowing where your strength is there in your home.
Kyle says, my pup!
Yeah. So I want to tell you another Brer Rabbit story, and this is the one where Brer Bear and Brer Terrapin had a tug-of-war. And, you know, we all know the story of Brer Rabbit and Brer Terrapin, and they had a running race. And who'd have guessed it, Brer Terrapin beat Brer Rabbit in a running race? That doesn't sound right at all. We'll tell that story another day. But today I want to talk about the tug-of-war that Brer Terrapin and Brer Bear had. And what they did was they were standing around talking like the critters do. They might have been drinking coffee or smoking cigarettes or telling stories, maybe complaining about their job. And they got to comparing about who was stronger, and everybody knew that in that crowd, Brer Bear was the strongest. But Brer Terrapin, you know, he was a pretty wise old creature. And he'd already beat Brer Rabbit in that running race, and he thought, I think I can show Brer Bear that I'm stronger than him. And Brer Terrapin challenged Brer Bear to a tug-of-war, because, you know, they had that rope, and they were going to do a tug-of-war with the rope, and Brer Bear said, pshaw, you can't do that. Ain't no way. You can't outpull me. You just a little old piece of a skate of an animal. I'll just snag you around. And Brer Terrapin said, well, if you want to make it fair, we can make it fair, because you sure could beat me here on land, but, you know, I'm a critter that lives most of the time down in the pond, right down in the pond. And Brer Bear said, that's fair, that's right. You do live most of the time in the pond. And Brer Terrapin said, that's where I'm the strongest. I'm the strongest in the pond. I'm not too strong out here on the land. Now, if you were to get over in the water, Brer Bear, you'd just flounder around. You wouldn't be no good at all. And Brer Bear said, that's about right. I'm not the strongest swimmer out there. I can swim, but I'm not that good like you. You can stay out there all day long. And Brer Terrapin said, so here's what we do. We're going to have a tug-of-war. And you're going to take one end of the rope, and I'm going to take the other end of the rope, and I'm going to swim out in the water, and I'm going to go down in the water, and I'm going to blow up 3 little sets of bubbles. Bloop, bloop, bloop. And when I do that 3rd set of bubbles, that means I'm ready, and we'll start the tug-of-war. Brer Bear said, got it just fine. And everybody was laughing and yee-hawing and saying, you're going to yank him right out of that water and throw him right over your head. And Brer Terrapin said, y'all don't worry about me. You worry about Brer Bear. And they said, okay, here we go. And Brer Bear got his end of the rope, and Brer Terrapin got his end of the rope. And Brer Bear got him dug down in the sand real good there by the pond. And Brer Terrapin, he just swam out there in the pond. And he said, I'm going number, I'm going to blow up some bubbles. And he did that. And he swam down in the water. But as he's blowing out some bubbles, he found him a good root, an old stump down in the pond. And he cinched off that rope real good, tied it in a double 2 half hitches. And blows up, bloop, bloop, bloop. And the bubbles came up. and Brer Bear, he started to pull it. And he started tugging. And he yanked. And he grunted. And he huffed. And he puffed. And he just yawed on that thing. He couldn't get it to move not 1 inch. And he pulled and pulled as long as he could until he got just plumb tuckered out. He was winded. He was hooping and hollering. Shoo-wee! I thought I'd yank that terrapin right out of there, and I can't get him to budge, none whatsoever. And he just sat down on the ground, and about that time the rope went slack, and Brer Terrapin, he was sitting down there watching it, of course, and as soon as the rope went slack, he started pulling that rope to him, and he untied his end, and he pulled his end of the rope to him, and he came out on the side of the pond and said, y'all got it figured out now? Who's the strongest out here? Is it me or Brer Bear? And everybody said Brer Terrapin was the strongest, because he had beat Brer Bear in a tug-of-war. Who'd have thunk it? Thank you, Joel Chandler Harris and Uncle Remus and all the wisdom literature out of East Africa and the slaves who kept alive. So, it is a good story. It's an instructive story about knowing where your strength is and digging in and being still when it's time to be still. And don't huff and puff and wear yourself out doing the wrong work, but settle in and do the right work that you know to do. So you got a great chance to do some good work right now in this time. Good work, good play, good family time, creative stuff. Maybe paint something that needs painting or garden something that needs gardening. And call somebody that needs calling. Fred called John. That was a great thing. Y'all are calling each other. Keep doing that. And I love hearing y'all's comments. And if you want to hear a Brer Rabbit story, mention it to me. If you got a question, you can mention that to me. And Morley's got me hooked up on a YouTube channel, so you can type in my name and look for that. So
what are you doing that's good?
What am I doing that's good? Oh, I'm having fun. I really am. And what I'm having fun doing is naming this pressure that we're all under, and people get a chance to talk about that. So I'm able to keep working because people are feeling this stress, and it feels productive to me to find ways to allow people to express this thing. Here's a quick little side note. Morley took me down this thing. The genius of J.K. Rowling and those stories, what are they? J.K. Rowling, Prince, Hogwarts.
Harry Potter?
Harry Potter, thank you. Couldn't get there. And just real quick, Voldemort.
He should not be named.
The one who should not be named. J.K. Rowling was genius in naming this sort of tension in the story to not say the scary thing. Harry Potter wasn't afraid of that. He knew that was his work, was to face that. Anxiety feeds on avoidance. This is a fearful time. Name it. Call your friends. Talk about this stuff. Don't sit back and hide out. It gets bigger and stronger when we do that. When anxiety feeds on avoidance. Don't avoid. Call somebody. Name what's going on with you, and you'll beat he who would not be named, Voldemort, and we'll beat coronavirus, COVID-19, and we'll beat this tension that we're under. It's really bad that we've got a lot of domestic violence and a lot of bad stuff going on out there, and that's sad. Be kind to each other, serve each other. I know a lot of folks are reaching out and doing good things. Let's remember all the good things that are happening. And thank you, Morley, and thank you for tuning in, and see you later. Bye, YouTube.
Oh, I can't click the button. There it is.